So we want to welcome you guys to the show. Today we're going to give you some potty training tips. We're also going to talk about 4 rules.
For your dog.
Puppy potty training. Did I not? Yeah, it's going to be important. We have no potty training tips for humans, kids, adults. We don't have those kinds of potty training tips.
Adults.
Puppy potty training tips today. We have 4 pillars that we sort of lean on that helped us through lots of different situations training our puppies. But here we also want to answer your questions. We've pulled some questions from our YouTube audience, and we're going to highlight those because I think there are some things that you guys might be dealing with if you own a puppy at home. So on that note, I'm Ken Steep.
I'm Cal McCann.
Welcome back to McCann Dogs. So I really enjoy doing these live streams for our YouTube family and and now I guess our Facebook followers and friends and people that like the page, or maybe you've stumbled onto this. But if you don't know who we are, I'm Ken Steep. I'm a professional dog trainer and have been for over 10 years. And this is Cale McCann. Cale's actually a 21-time world champion of dog agility. But why don't you tell these guys a little bit about your background as well? Like, you've been around dogs your entire life.
I have, yes. My family owns a family dog training business called McCann Professional Dog Trainers in Flamborough, Ontario. And they started the business around the same time I was born. So I literally, as Ken said, grew up around dogs, dog training, all that kind of stuff. So in my lifetime, I have been around, helped raise, and owned many dogs up until this point. So it's been really helpful as an instructor and as a coach to sort of pull from my own experiences, whether it be from something, simple like potty training, although for maybe some of you might not think it's simple at this point. Hopefully after this live stream you will. All the way up to, high level competitive agility. I've learned a lot along the way from all the different dogs that I've had. So it's a pretty cool job. Beats other things, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing better than, especially with puppies, but there's nothing better than going into like a Head Start class and seeing all these adorable, fluffy little puppies. And, the students are, oh my gosh. And the students are working with them, and they get them to respond to their name, or they teach them to sit or something. They do something, and seeing like the excitement on their face and seeing like how much the puppies enjoy that time working. Like, that's so much fun. And when Cale talks about McCann Professional Dog Trainers, they've been in business over 35 years. And, they've helped over 80,000 dogs to be good members of the family. And I mean, it's so special to be part of something like that. And I like talking about the puppy stuff because it's so impactful. You can really make a difference early on. And that's a lot of fun. So I thought we've got a couple of, did you want to say something?
I was just thinking about how much fun it is to have puppies ourselves, but how enjoyable our life is right now because all of our dogs are past puppyhood.
Yeah.
And it's like smooth sailing. So,
yeah.
But we've obviously had a lot of puppies and we've been through the whole puppy phase, and it is so much work. Super fun though, because they're so cute, and you kind of like, part of you wants them to stay like that forever.
Yeah, for
minus like wanting them to like be a cute little puppy, but also to be puppy trained and get crate trained.
Right,
but then stay a cute little puppy forever.
I know.
So like the potty training thing is like the non-fun part of puppy training. But right now our youngest is 1.5 years now, and she's been potty trained forever. But it's like so much more relaxing once they get to the point where they kind of know their job. I'm not sure that our puppy is as cute as she was when she was a baby though.
I mean,
she was so cute.
It's as they start to get older, especially when they go through that like weird phase when their legs are really long and their bodies are really little. I mean, they're not quite as cute as they were when they were little tiny short-legged fluff balls. But the puppy process can be challenging, and it can be so, I mean, you have to get up overnight. I mean, it's a lot of work. I just posted a video on our YouTube channel called 6 Reasons Not to Get a Puppy, because I thought it was so important that, and this was after Shannon, one of our instructors in the office, posted a blog post, or wrote a blog post about 10 reasons that you shouldn't get a puppy, because it's really important when people.
It seems funny to write an article like that
right.
when we're dog trainers.
Well, I think it's
people to get puppies.
Yeah, well, it's such an important message because your puppy is a lifelong commitment. And you need
to
be
know ready for it.
Totally, yeah. You don't want to just jump in and you see that someone's got a puppy for sale or something, or someone offers you a dog and you just scoop it up and assume that everything's going to be rosy.
And it's hard because they're cute, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so cute," and they don't think about like all of the other things and responsibilities that come with having a puppy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like It's a
Yeah,
job.
and one of the greatest challenges is potty training. You know, some people really struggle with potty training. And watching this video with us, watching our live stream today, you're going to learn about some of the things, some of the mistakes you might be making, or you know, you may have made, and you'll think, oh, that's exactly why. So let's get started. So I'm going to tell you sort of the four things, the four you know, rules that you can apply to your puppy potty training, that, and then I'll describe them in a little bit more detail, but they'll make your potty training so much easier. And, you know, we've had such great experiences with the last couple of puppies, but we had to, you know, take a step back with, you know, dogs, you know, a few dogs ago where someone was having accidents in their crate. So we can talk a little bit about that and how we worked through that, and, you know, what we did to correct that, because it can happen, you know, regardless of the dog, age, breed, whatever. So
They all do something a bit different.
yeah, for sure. So you need to understand the why around it rather than just like how to do it. So anyway, I'll move on. So the four rules to puppy potty training are: number one, supervise; number two, schedule; number three, feedback; and number four, responsibility. So when we talk about supervising a puppy, now whether you you know, use a crate right now or not, we certainly suggest for a ton of reasons that you do. And I can tell you definitively, it's going to speed up your potty training process for your puppy, you know?
I'm not sure I would have had as many dogs as I've had or liked dogs as much as I do if I didn't crate train.
Right.
There's just, I think that years ago it was like a little bit more strange for people to crate train. Like, people didn't really understand the value or the necessity for a crate. I think they thought it was, you know, a bad thing for the dog, and that the dogs, you know, felt like it was like a jail, and they would project all of their human feelings onto the dog. And, you know, it's really what people need to think about when they're raising a dog and learning about dogs is about how dogs think, not about how humans think about dogs.
Really
it's totally
important.
different. So, you know, dogs are naturally denning animals. They like to be in enclosed spaces. And I know this for certain because we see it in our own dogs all the time, even if after they've graduated out of a crate.
Yeah, I love this.
Our border collies, they sleep under the coffee table. Like our one dog, you know, he could be up on the couch with us, and he always, our one border collie, always goes and sleeps under our dining room table. I have a little mixed breed, and she wants to be under a blanket, something over top of her all the time. Like, they love that denning sort of surrounding feeling, and a crate really provides that. If you're introducing it in the correct way, and you're using it appropriately. There's lots of wrong ways to use a crate for sure, but if you're doing things right, a lot of dogs really grow to have this huge like love for their crate. And with our dogs, we see it continue right into their older age. And I you know, we don't really crate the older ones anymore, but
you know what's interesting
we
about
do
that?
have to sometimes.
Yeah, but I'll just stop you for a sec. Is we have a little area for our dogs that you know, provides them safe space. There's beds and stuff for the older dogs that maybe they're, you know, in competition or whatever, and they just need to stretch their legs a little bit more. But we'll leave their crates open, and so often they'll just
Rad's
go.
always sleeping in his crate.
They'll just go into their crate
the door
because it's a
open.
safe, comfortable place.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about sort of projecting these human ideas and emotions, but if you want to do that, then that's their bedroom. You know, think about when you were younger and you had your bedroom. You could go.
Wouldn't it be so annoying if you had to hang out with your family all of the time?
Right, I know.
I like my family, so it didn't really bother me.
No, for sure. But I mean, you get away from your little brother if you have a couple of dogs in the house or
Sorry,
whatever.
Dan,
But I mean, if you think about it like that, it makes more sense. So when we're talking about puppy potty training, supervision is so key, and using something like a crate is going to make your life a lot easier because you can supervise that puppy anytime they're out of the crate. And, you know, if you're supervising them and you know, playing with them and engaging with them and tiring them out, then they'll be ready to go back in that crate by the time you're done.
Yeah, and I think people need to remember, like, I find that when people say, oh, yeah, I use a crate, and then when I ask, you know, a little bit more detail, often they're only really using it in two circumstances. One, when they're sleeping, which is perfect. Two, when they leave the house, which is also perfect. And then those are the two reasons.
Yeah,
and the third or the fourth reason that we would use them is basically any other time that your attention can't be fully on your dog. And for whatever reason, most people are really good about understanding how important it is to supervise their young baby or their child. You wouldn't put a 12-month-old or 15-month-old kid down and then just go into another room for like an hour and type on the computer and not worry about what your child was doing. And obviously kids and dogs are a little bit different, but puppies are the same thing. You can't just leave them be and just expect that they're responsible enough or they have experience enough to be able to make good decisions. Right. So, crates should be used all of the time when you can't pay attention to the dog. And I would even go to say, as in the beginning, our dogs probably spend far more time in their crate than out of their crate as puppies.
Yep.
And then people start to feel guilty about that. My puppy's in the crate all the time. But what you need to remember is that when your puppy is not in their crate, when they're out of their crate, they should be having really high quality time with you, whether it's through training, whether it's through play, whether it's just through, snuggling on a couch for a little bit.
Right.
I don't feel guilty putting my dog into the crate because I know that the time that they've spent out of the crate has been really great. And by the time they go back in, they're usually ready at that point because they're tuckered out or they've just used some brains for a bit and done some problem solving or whatever it is. So
puppies love to sleep.
They do love to sleep,
Yeah.
and so you just want to tire them out and then put them in the crate, and it can be for a couple minutes at a time, or it can be a couple hours at a time. There's really no limit, as long as when they're out, you're doing a good job at entertaining / supervising them.
Yeah, for sure. And that speaks to that supervision, because if in regard to potty training, because if your puppy's having an accident, you should be able to catch them in the act. Puppies are taking in information, whether it's good or bad, all the time. They're taking in this information, and for them, dogs will do what's rewarding. So if them, it's satisfying if they have to pee, if they go in the house, that's a pretty rewarding sensation for them. So you need to be there. You need to be giving them information. That's dog training 101, giving your dog good information so that you get whatever the result is that you're looking for.
And I think you need to think about, if your puppy has had a couple accidents without you seeing them go, your problem to house training is pretty clear, and it's that you're not supervising your dog. When we have a puppy, I can't think of a time when my puppy's gone to the bathroom without me seeing them in the house. Yeah. So if you're not seeing it, then what's great about that is that it's a really easy thing to fix.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it's
because
easy
you can
to
just
identify.
Be better about your supervision, because if you're not watching them, and then maybe you're not watching them because you have a super busy life, you have a family, you have kids, you have work, you have all these things, because life is busy, and that's sometimes what's hard about having a puppy, which is why you have a crate.
Right.
So that if you have a busy life, which most people do, we do for sure, then we just make sure that we have our puppy in a safe place where they're not going to get hurt and they're not going to learn bad things. So the crate is definitely a good thing to do. And maybe at a different time when the topic is more towards crates specifically, we have like a list of games that we play with the dogs in the crates. We have certain things that we do right from the first time our dog ever sees or smells or gets in a crate, that basically teaches the dogs to love the crate and to think it's a good thing, which makes our life with the puppy in the crate a lot easier.
For sure. If you are watching this on Facebook, make sure you go over to our YouTube channel. It's at McCann Dogs, and we'll be doing another live stream. I think we can dedicate a live stream to crate training, answering questions
Super
for people,
important,
because it is so important. And there's a million reasons why you want to use a crate, and I'm thinking of them all right now. But I want to try to stay on track, which is something sometimes we struggle with here. We struggle with staying on track, so we sort of go off on a tangent. But with that said, if you have any questions about puppy potty training, hi there, Madison. I see Madison's joined us on YouTube. If you have any questions, just like Madison, drop those in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. We can see them both, about your puppy potty training or puppies in general. Let's get to number 2. So the first one.
Can I just say one more thing about supervising?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So for supervising, we spoke specifically about the crate. It was sort of the only thing we touched on, but there's lots of other ways that you can help your supervision go better. You could use barricades in your house, baby gates, X-pens, things like that. A leash on in your house, which is going to be a really important thing, which I'm sure we'll get into with some other things as well.
Yeah, well, so and not just, I mean, I wouldn't take your nice leash, just in case anybody's like, okay, this doesn't make sense to me.
We call them house lines.
Yeah, we take a house line, so you might go to like the dollar store, or just get an inexpensive nylon leash and cut the loop off it, and then clip it to your puppy. That way you can
cut the loop off so that it's less likely to catch on things, and it can slip and slide through your furniture.
Just like your puppy.
And and keep things a little bit safer. But some type of house line is super helpful. Barricading your dog in so that you aren't distracted, and then your puppy has a chance to sneak off into another room and have an accident. Those are all really good things, because sometimes you want to let them have a bit of free time. You don't want to confine them to their crate all of the time. So you do need other tactics to help you be a better supervisor, and just know when you're not maybe up to multitasking, and if there's something that you have to be doing, then just make sure that you're putting your puppy in a place that they can't get into mischief while you're distracted.
Yeah, that's such important information. I see a couple really great questions coming in on the chat, but I'm just going to touch on schedule, and then I'll jump back to those questions. So when we talk about schedule, keep in mind that puppies are going to need to go pee or whatever when they come out of their crate. Say you get home from work, the first thing your puppy needs to do if you take your puppy out of the crate, or even if they've had a little snooze, once you take that puppy out of the crate, take them right outside to do their business. Before they go in their crate, for sure, after they have a little snooze, maybe you've been on the couch and they've had a little nap, on your lap or something like that. After they've had a sleep, good idea to take your puppy out. After they've had a play, it's a good idea to take your puppy. And these are things that can be a little harder to remember, because sometimes you're distracted and you're having so much fun with them. But puppies will have to go after all these activities. So not only that, you should be taking your puppy out every couple of hours anyway, even if they aren't, if they've just been sort of hanging around, because they're going to need to go eventually. And the best thing you can do is not allow them to make that mistake. Be proactive, giving them good information by taking them outside and going exactly to the spot where you want them to go, and let them do their business. So schedule is really important, and I want you to think about that. If you've got a puppy, is planning your engagement with your puppy by making sure that you take them out and give them an opportunity to go pee.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I agree with everything Ken just said. Not that I don't disagree with it.
That's good. But it makes for less interesting live streams if we're not screaming at each other.
Yeah. Not that we ever scream.
No, we don't.
So, having a schedule is really important, but also breaking the schedule when they get older is also equally as important, because I have had many people get to the point where they actually let the dog out so much.
I see where you're going.
So often that the dogs do not learn to hold their bladder. And so as the puppy gets a little bit older, and for me, when they get to be like maybe 4 months or so, I let them out when I think they have to go, but I don't let them out when I'm not sure. Because what sometimes starts to happen is, and I've made this mistake with my own dog, so I'm so diligent about taking them out that they never really learned to tell me when they had to go outside. They also never really learned to hold their bladder. So, that just means that, puppies can get on a schedule. So if you feed them at the same time, you let them out at the same time, they start to have to do that all of the time. And, if your life is the same way every single day, then maybe that works perfectly for you. For me, my daily schedule for every day is totally different from one another. So I can't feed my dog at a certain time every single day. I can't let my dog out to the bathroom every single day at a specific time. That switches. So my dogs have to learn to be adaptable to my life. And what's awesome about dogs is they can be great about having a schedule, but they're also super adaptable as well, just based on what you need. But you need to teach them to be that way. And what comes to mind most often is like sleeping overnight.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will come to my Head Start class and their puppy is like 14, 15, 16 weeks old.
So just to stop you just right there, because this sort of illustrates exactly what I want to get to, and I don't want to confuse anybody. So, that puppy that's 8 to 10 weeks old, you're going to treat them a little bit differently than the puppy that's like 11, 12, 13, 14 weeks old or older. So that's kind of what you need to keep in mind, but also what makes it a little bit dynamic,
Or the size of your puppy, like a small breed, you would need to like take out more often for a longer period
Right.
of time than a large breed because they have
Yeah.
a smaller bladder. They legitimately have to go to the bathroom more often. So you need to be, this is sort of general things. There's always like a exception to the rule based on the size of dog that you have and the age of dog you have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Why don't you have a look at the comments, Cal, and see what you think you want. So we'll just send it up
One
to
of the things that
And hi there. No, just send. Hi there, Unicorn2159 on YouTube. We're doing really well. Thanks for asking. So, is it true that the best guide to use for potty training is to base the frequency? Oops. What's that?
This is sort of what made me think about the question. So
Yeah, we'll have to read
the
it.
question basically is it true that potty training can be based on like the age of your dog versus how often you take them out? So for example, a 2-month-old puppy should be taken out every 2 hours. And no, I don't think so. That's sort of, this question sort of got me saying what I was saying before.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have to take your puppy out every 2 hours. That's not very much time. Some puppies won't have to go if you take them out that often, unless you're like doing like a lot of play and a lot of activity. You don't really want to be letting your dog out that often, as they start to get a little bit older, because they, like I said before, I'm repeating myself, but they'll just learn to have to go out all of the time that way. So you don't want to do that. You want to, be smart about their age. And if they have to go to the bathroom often, then obviously you need to take them out. But then, don't get into a huge, don't get stuck on, like, when they're 7 months old, you take them out every 7 hours. Like, no. So.
Right. Yeah. It needs to be a little bit fluid or dynamic.
Yeah,
though, because
everything is different. You can't have, I don't believe that you can have like a calculated like structure like that, because
Right.
it just, there's so many variabilities as to what's going on in the dog's life. And I would hate if like there's certain people that are like very like, I do this and then I do this
Yeah.
and then they do this because they're trying so hard to like follow all the rules and do everything perfect. And that's what's so difficult about having a puppy, is that it's not like that.
It's imperfect.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah, so I don't want to get you too stuck on that, because it could get you into trouble.
Yeah. What else have we got there?
It took us less than a week of having a new puppy to get her potty trained, because someone was always home with her and brought her outside every 15 to 20 minutes. And again, that's great when you first get them home. In my opinion, that's way more than you need to.
Yeah.
But
you'll
it's
avoid
good to
accidents.
be proactive.
Yeah, and you can as Kayla has mentioned, that will slowly fade away, where you don't need to be so religiously taking them out every 15 minutes, but you avoid accidents that way. And for Madison, that worked. You may not have the same. I mean, for Hippie Shake, we probably, because our tiny little
Yeah,
toy
I let her
poodle,
out way more often.
Yeah, we'd let her out a lot more often than we would
But
our
I
bigger
also like
breeds.
forced the issue of like getting her to ask me to go out much earlier. Like, actually, of all my dogs, she asked to go outside at the earliest age. I think at like 10 or 11 weeks, maybe even younger than that, because I brought her home at like 8.5 weeks. She had already figured out how to go to the door and ask me to go
amazing,
outside.
eh?
She was so good about it. But I will say I got her in nice weather, and that really helped.
That makes a huge
couple
difference.
of our puppies, like Beeline was a winter
Right,
puppy.
yeah.
Somebody else was a winter puppy, and
challenging.
much harder to puppy train a dog in the winter.
Yeah, for sure.
Puppy train. I meant to say potty train.
Potty train, yeah. And I see Elsa's got a question or a comment. Put it there. So my in-law, 7-month-old pup, is crate trained. He's put out as scheduled times of the day. Why would he still poop and pee in the house up to 3 times a day? So that speaks to what we were talking about a little bit. Like 3 times a day might not work for him, or the schedule might not be right. Certainly supervision, making sure you are carefully supervising him. Emil?
Yeah, so it sounds like the dog's not being supervised. There's, if the dog is being caught in the act of going to the bathroom in the house, and you're getting that many opportunities to catch the dog, then there's other things that are going wrong in the training.
Yep.
It could be timing. It could be, whether you're actually catching them active doing it, supervision.
Or
if
something-
they're actually going outside, when you take them outside, some dogs will not go outside because they're distracted or they're playing, or
Right.
there's...
This is something I want to touch on in a bit.
So there's lots of reasons why this could be happening. Just because you're crate training your dog doesn't mean you're house training your dog. Those are two different things. Crate training simply helps manage the amount of time your dog is free, so that you don't have to manage them, so much. But in order to fix house training, you have to catch them in the act of doing it. You need to redirect. We'll get into all that stuff. But if that's happening, there's other things that are not going right.
Well, the other thing that you need to keep in mind, and I mean, this is sort of a worst case scenario, but I don't want you to overlook it, is does the dog have GI issues? Are there intestinal issues going on? Maybe it's the food. Maybe it's, who knows? I mean, there could be something else. So if, your dog continues to have accidents in the house and it's something you think something's wrong with their stool, then maybe it's time to just pop into the vet and find out and talk to your veterinarian about it, because that could be one of the other challenges. So don't overlook that. Really keep an eye on it. But so let's get back to those 4 rules of house training. We've talked a little bit about supervising. Talked about schedule and how it needs to be flexible, and over time you're going to see that schedule change. Over time you're going to change how often you're taking your puppy out and that sort of thing as they get older. Next, let's talk about feedback. So we talked supervision and feedback sort of go hand in hand, and we talked about having the house line on your puppy, and that's for like safety's sake for sure, in the house, to be able to redirect them if they get into a bad situation. Also better for training. You don't want your puppy doing puppy laps or underneath the dining room table while you're trying to gather them up to do something with them. But feedback is so important, and supervision and feedback, when you catch your puppy in the act, you need to mark that moment, because the last thing you want to do is, just start dragging your puppy outside or rush up to them to try to stop that event from happening. And your puppy panics and they run away or whatever. They stop peeing, or they, piddle all the way across your kitchen floor or whatever. So when you catch your puppy in the act, if they have an accident in the house, giving them feedback in that instant is the best thing you can do for them. Marking that moment that they're making a mistake. With some puppies, they might just stop peeing. That might be enough for them to be like, whoa, okay, that's not right. But you do need to give them the information that that's not what you're looking for. That's the wrong thing. The opposite, there needs to be, some balance to that idea. So when you take your puppy outside, if they haven't had an accident in the house, you're taking them out as per schedule, or as per, they've indicated they need to go outside. Praise them for going outside. Praise them for, going potty, whether it's like pee or poo or whatever. And actually on our YouTube channel, if you guys that are on Facebook, you guys that are on YouTube, there's a link in the corner. There's a card up there somewhere, that you can click, that you can learn to teach your dog to pee on command. So, you can start to integrate that into your training. But, giving your dog the feedback, catching them in the act, whether it's the bad one, you mark that with an oops or an ah or something, and then praising them when they're outside, making a good decision is really important.
Yeah, I usually I find if you startle the puppy, that actually works the best. So, hey, what are you doing? Just sort of like a quick little scold, because usually they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then once you've done that, there's no need to be any more angry or to do anything else. Just go and pick them up, take them outside, put them down outside. I always keep them on a leash. When I put them down on the grass, so that they can't just run around and start sometimes they puppy burn and they get so silly out there that they don't go to the bathroom. So I'll just stand quietly and wait till they either finish or continue to go, and then I'll praise the puppy calmly at that point. Good, outside, good puppy. And I praise them from there. So I'm quick to react with the negative if they're, making a mistake, and then I'm just as quick to react with positive feedback when the dog is doing it correctly. And that's really, really important that you're able to do that. There's some people will say, rub their nose in it and all these different things. And we're super, super against that. It's
just not fair.
It's inappropriate, actually, is what it is, because the dogs don't really get what that means.
Right.
And then you're just basically doing something awful to the puppy, and then they don't even understand why, and that's not fair. So all you need to do is simply scold them when they go, and then pick them up and take them outside from there. And it's more simple for the dog to understand, and you're not going to get super emotional or angry or crazy about it.
This is really important.
You're just going to be very matter of fact,
right?
Very clear and precise and concise, and that's more than enough.
Yeah. You can't be angry about it. I mean, the puppy doesn't know that they're doing something wrong. Yeah, they are learning.
They're just babies.
For sure. So it's you can't be angry about it, and you certainly can't be angry about it if you don't catch them in the act. The idea of taking your dog back to where they had an accident, rubbing their nose in it, just doesn't. I mean, I don't know how anyone.
Well, I think
would
what happens
consider
is
that.
back to that human thing, because people will
humanizing,
say,
right,
"Oh, you know, they look guilty. They slinked away.
Right.
They knew they were wrong." You know, and what's the why the puppy is reacting that way is that your puppy, even though they haven't been around you for very long, already gets you. They already know how to read your body language. They already know how to sense your energy. So, you know, if you sigh, if you clench your fists, if you react in like a disappointed or negative way,
Right.
which is what happens when we see a mistake on the floor. You know, I would certainly do that and go, oh man,
Yeah.
like the puppy goes, uh-oh, you're mad. I don't really know why, but I'm not going to stick around to figure out why. And they'll slink away, or they'll try to move, and they're actually reacting to your emotion and to your energy and all those types of things. They're not putting together, oh, I made a mistake on the floor a half hour ago and now she's mad about it. Dogs don't think like that, thank goodness. They're very like in the moment, and right away they need the information. So if your dog has an accident in the house and unfortunately you miss it for whatever reason, it's 1 point puppy, 0 point human.
Right,
Like
yeah.
he can't do anything about
Right.
it at that point, and you must be better at catching them in the next time, so that you don't get yourself down a rabbit hole where the dog just thinks that, you know, it's okay to go to the washroom in the house, because sometimes it's easier, especially if it's winter or it's
Yeah.
raining or
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, I would rather go to the bathroom inside the house than outside the house, wouldn't
Right.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. And,
It's just puppies do what feels good.
and I don't love going out, taking a puppy outside in the pouring rain, but it's got to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it. It's part of the whole responsibility of
Totally.
taking care of that puppy and giving them good information. I see Xinian Sue on YouTube says, what if they won't go down the steps? Well, you'll have to carry them.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to get that puppy outside. And unless maybe so clarify a little bit, maybe you're talking about them indicating. So I want to talk about the fourth rule for potty.
We don't really let our puppies do stairs, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
When they're babies, because
Yeah.
they're not big, they're not grown enough.
Yeah.
Their growth plates aren't closed. So we have stairs to go outside both of our doors, actually all of our doors in our
Yeah.
house, and we carry them right from the beginning.
Right, yeah, they're still growing, and the little
Yeah.
epiphyseal plates aren't closed yet. So you got to be really careful with those little puppies for the same reasons that you don't, do a lot of intense agility stuff and kill.
It also teaches them to not go down the stairs in your house, because they don't know how to do it.
Right,
That worked
yeah.
with Beeline for a long
Yeah,
time, until
yeah.
she learned to go down the stairs, and then we were like, uh-oh, now we have another floor we have to supervise her on.
Yeah. Oh, she's adorable, though. We should probably bring her in at some point. She's pretty cute. You guys would like to see her if you haven't seen her.
You answer the next thing, and I can
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about responsibility. Whose responsibility is it when your dog begins to indicate? So we've talked about the first 3 rules of potty training, and they're supervise, schedule, and feedback. Now the fourth one is responsibility. At a certain point, when your puppy truly understands that they aren't to have accidents in the house and that they need to go outside of accidents, you are going to have to sort of begin to notice them indicating that it's time to go outside, that they need to, hi buddy, this is Beeline, oh my goodness, she is just quite a wild child. But that may be for some of you guys, maybe look at how cute this dog is, look at how cute she is. That may be for some of you guys that your puppy sits and stares at you. You know, you've got the puppy in the house and you're doing something with them and your puppy just sits and stares. You need to identify that and take them outside. A lot of people do. You don't hit the microphone, buddy. Some people do like bell training. They'll train their dog to ring a bell, which you need to be a little cautious about, and we can talk about that in a minute. But your puppy at a certain point, or your young dog, will have a responsibility to let you know that it's time to go outside. But that doesn't mean that you abandon those first 3 steps, and that doesn't mean that you don't have to supervise them as much, because you're still trying to give them good information throughout the process. And you really need to be able, hi buddy, need to identify that moment when they're starting to show you they're being responsible. They're sitting and staring, telling you that I need to go outside for you, or they've rang that bell. Ringed.
They rang the bell.
They rang the bell. Ringed the bell.
I don't know.
Whatever. That it's time to go outside. Now here's the caution, and we know that some puppies are pretty smart, and they will ring that little bell. and they will go outside and have a wild and crazy playtime, and then you'll bring them back in and you'll say like, they didn't even go when we got out there. So there's a couple things that could be happening. Your puppy may have learned that every time they ring that little bell or they indicate to you that they get to go outside and have a party, and then you come back in, they could either just have learned that, or they could be having so much fun outside that they've gotten distracted, and that happens to a lot of puppies.
Ken's the expert at fixing that, though. That's your responsibility when we raise a puppy.
That's true, yeah.
Because you're the expert at teaching puppies to go to the bathroom on leash.
Well, I also feel like that's Kale's code word for saying I'm really boring, because that's what you need to be.
Well, you're boring on purpose in those circumstances.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need to be. You need to be disinteresting, and you shouldn't be covering a lot of ground when you're teaching your puppy to go outside and pee in a certain area. And that's a little bit our YouTube video about teaching your dog to go potty on command. That's a big part of it. That's one of the steps that are going to be really helpful for you guys. Now, I want to let's see.
I'm not sure what else you said there, but one of the things, did you talk about like in the morning, how in the morning is the best time to teach them to go outside?
No, it's a great
Okay,
point.
so one of the things that we do to teach our puppies or to initiate like them asking to go out is we use the morning. She can't decide who she wants to love right now.
I know.
We use the morning time to work on the indication to go outside, because in the morning, usually after they've been sleeping all night, they have to go outside. So like with Bea, for example, when she was a baby puppy, we would let her out of her crate. She was sleeping in a crate in our room with us. And I would carry her down the stairs to our kitchen where our door to go outside was. And I would just put her down in the kitchen, and I would just let her like walk around a little bit. And I wouldn't take her outside, and I would just watch her really closely. So I wouldn't do anything else but focus on the puppy. And then what I would do is look for signs that I know showed me that she had to go outside. And already at this point, I kind of knew that when she would get like a bit disconnected from me, a bit distracted, a bit sniffy, that I knew she would have to go outside. So initially what I would start to do is say, do you have to go outside? Do you have to go outside? And then I would go with her to the door. And then I would obviously have her little line on, and we would go outside from there. So we started to do it, like that for several mornings in a row. I would wait for her to sort of give some type of indication to me that she had to go to the bathroom. And it wasn't going to the door at this point. This was just like sniffing around the house, like because she was going to go in the house if I wasn't going to let her out. Yeah. But this also gave me two options. It was a way to sort of say, okay, sniffing the floor isn't what gets you to go outside. It's going to the door that does. Or if she decided that in that moment she felt like she had to go to the bathroom in the house, I was right there to catch her with perfect timing. Right. So it worked both ways, and it really didn't take long. I think like maybe 4 or 5 mornings, I would put her down in the kitchen, and she just started to go to the door just all by herself. Remember, she was really good about that, eh? Yeah. She's great. She runs to the door anytime in our house right now. Ken and I get up immediately to let her outside because we know she has to go, and that's just been like a really great lifesaver. And what it did, it put the responsibility on her to let us to know that she had to go outside, rather than having to like let her out all of the time on her own. And how old would you say when she was probably like 4 or 5 months, eh?
Yeah, I would
when
think
we started to do that with her.
Yeah.
So past like the baby puppy stage where we like did everything for her, this was now when she was a little bit older. I mean, 4 months isn't very old, but just a little bit more aware of her bladder and whatnot. And she was better about asking us to go outside. So that worked really well, like the whole morning thing, because it was a time when I knew she had to go already, and we could just sort of build on that.
Right. So those are the 4 rules that we've talked about. It's going to make we always do this in our live streams. We always bring a dog out, and they always snuggle with us, and then we spend a good portion of the rest of the live stream scratching our nose because we have dog hair on our nose.
Maybe it's because we need to brush our dogs more.
Maybe that's part of it.
You need to be brushed and bathed before we go away this weekend.
Oh my goodness. But these 4 rules, let's do a little exercise. I've pulled some questions from our YouTube channel, and we're going to apply these 4 skills. My hope is to give you guys a better, sort of empower you, give you a better understanding of how, if you're challenging, something like this challenges you, that you can give your puppy better information. But I've just pulled a few questions, and we're going to see where they fit in, or what you guys think, some of the answers to these questions might be for your potty training. Puppy potty training. So Rose Smith asks, I have a 12-week-old puppy and I'm trying to potty train her. I hear that she can only hold her urine for 2 hours or so. Oh my goodness, I lost it. I have a crate and a playpen, but I'm not quite sure what to do. Should I leave her in her kennel all night, or should I leave the crate open and allow her access to a playpen with a pad? She's also having lots of accidents in the house.
How old is she?
And then please help, which I assume is please help, but there's an exclamation point. She's 12 weeks
We
old.
will help you.
We will certainly help you. So
How old is puppy, sorry?
12 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not really sure what the breed is, but this brings up a really important question or an important idea, because so what we'll do with a young puppy is we will bring their puppy crate, up to our room. We'll put it in our bedroom, so we know the moment the puppy is having any sort of discomfort, any issue, something's up.
It's also good for bonding as well.
Yeah, absolutely,
it's a good
for sure.
bonding thing.
Yeah.
Because you're sharing your den together. It's a good bonding thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, puppy can sleep up in your room in a crate. That way you can sort of deal with the stirring and whatnot. If you do choose to leave the puppy down below and you have an X pen and a crate, the puppy should be confined in the crate with the crate door shut throughout the entire evening.
Right.
If they're whining in their crate, you'll need to decide at that point whether they legitimately have to go to the bathroom, in which you need to get up and let them out, or whether you need to say, like, enough is enough, be quiet and go back to sleep.
Right.
Which is a heck of a lot easier to do from your bed with the puppy crate beside you than it is to have to get up and walk all the way downstairs. So when they're babies, we have them in the bedroom so that I can either decide to say, like, yes, I really feel like you need to get up based on like the day or how old the puppy is, or I'll just, smack the crate with my hand and say, quiet, go back to sleep, settle. And then once the dog's quiet, then I'll either maybe let them out at that point because I'm going to reward quiet behavior, or sometimes the puppy just stirs for a second, then they just go back to sleep and you can let them out in the morning. So you need to play that one by ear, but you shouldn't need, by the time my puppy is 10 or 11 weeks old, I am not getting up throughout the night with my puppy. My puppy sleeps for, from the time I put them to bed, which for us is pretty late.
Yeah, well, but
and then we get up in the morning.
Right, and it could maybe be shortened a little bit. You're going to take your puppy out just before you go to bed, and you're going to get up a little bit earlier than you normally would.
And maybe the hours of our night are shorter than most people.
Right,
so
yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
We go to bed late and we get up late.
Yes, but regardless, what's important to take away from that, if you're having challenges, any struggles with your puppy potty training, is that the idea that if Rose is letting her puppy access to a pad with a playpen area, it's confusing for the puppy. Like the puppy's allowed to go out and piddle in the house.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea, and we had tons of questions that I answered on our YouTube channel on a couple of our potty training videos about pads, and there were so many struggles people were having with pads.
Yeah, they're really, the only time I would recommend pee pads is if you live in like a really high apartment building, in which case I would recommend that you put it like out on the balcony.
Right.
So it's at least outside the house.
Right, yeah. But see, in my mind, I would think that you need to be more proactive about taking your puppy down so that there isn't any confusion. But I guess if your puppy is very clear and your potty training is working well, that the puppy will only go on a pad on the balcony.
It's certainly something that we would never do, but it doesn't mean that no one can do it. It just means it's not ideal to be letting them go to the bathroom in the house, even though it's on a puppy pad. Or what you can do is take the puppy pad and you can put it like outside on the grass, so you can like transfer it.
Yeah. Moving it slowly toward the door and then outside is really good.
But yeah, you want to try and be a little bit more clear if you can.
I see Donna Lomas has a great question, but we'll come back to that only because it's not puppy specific or potty training specific. Mm-hmm. We're going to come back to that in a minute, Donna. So let's go to our next question. So how much time should a puppy of 11 or 12 weeks spend in its kennel or crate? I have a West Highland White Terrier, and I'm curious if leaving him out of his kennel and crate is creating leaving too many opportunities to have accidents in the house. And this is going to take us back. Right. So this is going to take us back a little bit to earlier in our conversation. So regardless of the age of the dog, when they are out, make sure you're spending quality time with them. Make sure that you're engaging with them, that you're tiring them out. And, leaving your puppy out of their crate, if you're having trouble with potty training issues, is really setting you back. It's really making it challenging for your puppy. And that's really who we're sort of being an advocate here for, is the puppies. Because we want them to be getting good information all the time. So, it's hard to say, as long as as long as you're spending quality time with them when they come out of their kennel, that you're doing things that are engaging and tiring them out and spending time with them and then putting them back in their crate, then I can't give you a definitive amount of time.
I would say, like, if you were to add up, and this is probably going to sound super shocking, but if you were going to add up, like, all of the hours the puppies were in their crate, like, total, and then not for our puppies as young puppies, I would probably say, like, 18 to 20 hours in their crate and
Probably.
4 out.
Yeah, I would say so. But
But this isn't like 4 in a row, obviously.
No.
This is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe more than 4 hours, like maybe 5 hours.
Yeah, it's hard to say because puppies tire out quickly. And like
Yeah.
we do like a lot of things with our puppies. And
We're constantly doing
Yeah.
stuff with them. Like there's like a training session, or we're playing like restraint recalls,
Yeah.
or working on our come command, or we're playing tug, or doing retrieve, or we're,
doing stuff.
yeah,
that
like
is
our
engaging,
dogs
tiring.
our baby puppies don't spend a lot of time just hanging around our house. When they're baby puppies,
Right.
it's like you take them out, you entertain them, you put them away. You take them out, you entertain them, you put them away. And that's sort of how they go. Because what happens is when I bring them out and I say entertain, I'm also teaching them things. I'm teaching them their name. I'm teaching them sit, come, leave it, drop it, all of those things so that I have skills. And then as my puppy gets to be like 5, 6 months old, now they have some basic skills, which means when they're out of their crate, I can start to use the skills that I've been training my dog to do so that I can control them. So now it's easier for them to spend more time out of their crate because now I could have them like go and lie down, for example,
Right.
or I could have them whatever, wait at the door, or all of these things because they have a bit more training. And then the more training that they have, the more time they can spend out of the crate because now I'm not, spending time disciplining a dog because they're making bad choices. I've basically shaped the dog to make great choices because of the intense time that I've spent with the puppy initially when they were first out of their crate.
Absolutely,
So that's
yeah.
kind of what we do. Okay,
And you know what a great byproduct of that is the dog that just loves to be around you.
Yes.
Just wants to be engaged. And even like as a young puppy,
Our
they
dogs
just
are
want
ridiculous.
to
One of us gets up and moves out of the room. We literally have like a shadow of dogs.
Right.
I have to like stop them and close the bathroom door. Otherwise, I would literally have like 6 dogs in my bathroom all the time.
Yeah. And they just want to be around you and hang around you. And that's
We also test to see which dog is going to leave when person gets up. So if
That's
I
true.
get up and leave the room, I say, okay, I think that this dog's going to follow me.
Yeah.
And then those ones will care about staying with you. Who do you
Yeah.
think B would follow?
I don't know.
She's a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
She loves both of us.
If
a
you guys
lot.
have seen any of our videos on our YouTube channel, we, I spend a lot
She's
more time.
supposed to be mine, though.
Yeah, I spend a lot more time now with Beeline now that we're doing some sheep herding, as well as Mac, my older border collie. But I would say, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. But we do have bets, and I'm usually not the winner because Kale spends a lot of time with the dogs. Okay, where were we going? Oh, we've got another question here. If you have any questions about puppy potty training, let us know in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we can get to those. So let's bring this down. Just watch your foot for wiggling the camera. So on point number 3, and this is from one of our potty training videos, and I'm probably going to have to bring this graphic back up again a couple times. I currently take our puppy, a French Bulldog, out in the front yard on a leash. But we will allow her to roam around and we follow her. What we're told is to constantly say our command word, go potty, until she starts to go to the bathroom. Once she starts to go to the bathroom, I should have set this up. This is all my pre-stream stuff and I didn't do it very well.
Well, I just already know what I want to say to that.
Okay, so is it possible, would you recommend that we start standing still in one spot? Do you think this would cause confusion for her? Yeah, see, I like where this is going. So
You're very smart already. You're like
Right.
answering your own question.
yeah, so let's talk about how that is counterproductive if you're just constantly wandering around saying some command.
Yeah, so the dog doesn't really know what the command means. If they knew what the command meant, then they would literally start to go to the bathroom in the moment you say it. So you're on the right track, though. You're definitely on the right track. You're doing all of the things sort of correctly. However, just to sort of tighten things up a little bit, definitely take away the walking. Walking is good to sort of stimulate them to have to go to the bathroom, but then what you should do is find a spot and sort of stay still and be boring. And then when you're trying to teach the dog to go to the bathroom, you actually should wait until they start to go. And once they've started to go, then you're going to pair the command that you want to use with them going to the bathroom. So
Capture the behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So you might start saying like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, or I shouldn't really say
Make
that.
sure, yeah, be careful.
right now.
Free.
But yeah, just repeat it as they're starting to go. And then I would do that for several days in a row. And then you might like give it a little test. Go outside and start to say, hurry up. And then, see if the dogs start to go to the bathroom. Like our dogs go within moments of us saying, hurry up, which is actually, it was so helpful for me. I just flew to the Netherlands. And when we got to the Netherlands, actually, when we were leaving the Netherlands, we had to potty the dogs before putting them on a plane for, I don't even want to tell you how many hours because there was a delay in our flight, but it was awful. But there was like hardly any grass around. There was like some weeds sticking up from like the cement to go. Yeah. So like I took Funky over there and I was like, hurry up, hurry up. And she kind of looked at me like, seriously? Right. And then she peed. On these like, couple blades of grass like on cement, which she's not used to doing at all. But I'm so grateful that she knew how to go to the bathroom on command because I knew she would have to like hold it for a long time otherwise.
It's a necessity for if you have a really busy lifestyle. And Kale travels a lot with her dogs. She travels all over the world competing, and even if we're going wherever, we're traveling to a park, or do I have a hair on my face? I have a beeline hair somewhere. It's hiding. We're going down to take the dogs for a walk on the lakeshore or something like that. It's nice to find a quiet area that they can go, have a pee or whatever before we get down to the long stretch of sidewalk. So again, if this is you're just joining us, if you're on Facebook, head over to our YouTube channel where you can teach your dog how to pee on command. If you are watching this on our YouTube channel, you can click the card above my head or somewhere over there for help. Okay, so from Morgan Melton, my puppy had his first accident in his crate after 5 weeks of not having one. Aww. I took his bedding out to wash it. How long should I go before he can get it back? Also, my vet will not let me train him to go potty outside due to him not having all his shots yet, so he's using a puppy pad. However, he hates his puppy pads. And runs to the door. Oh no! So and he runs to the door to pee in front of it. I've tried putting a pad.
Oh, the puppy's trying so hard to be good.
Hold on, wait. There's more. I've tried putting a pad there, but he just pees beside it. Should I start taking him outside? He gets his last rounds of shots in a week. Thank you for all your videos. They're so helpful. Well, thank you, Morgan, for watching this.
Puppy.
I know. When I read this, I'm like, oh, this puppy is trying to be spectacular.
Oh,
but
that's so nice.
A lot of challenges. So I can't speak to your veterinarian. I haven't really heard. I mean, I wouldn't take a puppy who wasn't done all their shots to I would never take my dogs to a dog park, but I would never put my puppy in a super social situation.
When my puppy doesn't have all their shots, I don't take them out to other places where other dogs are going to be going to the bathroom.
Right.
But if it's just outside your house, then that's okay.
Or an apartment, find a quiet spot or something like that.
Something clean. But I wouldn't be taking them to a lot of places where there's a lot of other dogs going to the bathroom or where they're going to be. You just have a week to go, so you can decide to follow your vet's rules to a T if you want to. But I would say it's okay to go outside.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too big of a deal.
It's hard for us to make that statement, that because
we don't know your living situations too.
Yeah.
So for us, we have our own lawn, so only our dogs would be going to the bathroom on it, so we can.
Yeah, and again, part of the confusion with the pee pads, now the puppies. So if your puppy has an accident in their crate, you're going to remove the bedding. The puppies, even if it's just one accident, just remove the bedding for a couple of days. No accidents in the crate.
Or if you can go a week without any accidents in the crate, and then I would try to put the bedding back in.
Yeah.
What you also need to be careful of, though, with a young puppy like that is not just going to the bathroom in the crate, but some puppies will start to chew the bedding as they go through What are you looking at?
Sorry, I'm just reading the comment.
As they go through the chewing phase and whatnot. So, B couldn't really have a bed in her crate until she was almost a year old, which was so sad.
Yeah.
But she would tear it apart. Yeah. At first she was having accidents, and then after she was having accidents and she was getting better with that, she would rip the bedding apart because she would be playing and grabbing it and tugging it and having a party in there. So we didn't put it in for a long time. Or she would pee on it and then just stuff it to the side and then
Right.
have like this nice like clean area. So we took it out, and I was glad that we did, because by the time we put it back in, doesn't eat it, and she's great with it now. But it was a bit of we tried a couple times, where we put it in,
Yep.
and she'd be good for like 2 weeks, and then she would eat it, or something would happen, and we'd like, oh, gotta go through it again.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's not like a
and-
one chance thing. You have to switch it around a bit.
Yeah, and if all this stuff doesn't sound familiar or doesn't make sense to you, we will the bedding inside the puppy's crate is something that they've earned. Crates are made so incredibly now that you can remove that bedding, whether it be a a blanket or something like that, until your puppy is consistently not having accidents in the crate. But if your puppy starts to have accidents, then remove the bedding.
Yeah.
It's sort of the
Or they're chewing it.
or they're chewing it or wrecking the bedding. Yeah. We talked a little bit about, and I should probably look into there's a Kong pad. Kong makes some pad that's like super durable. It sounds really cool. That I should look into. One of our YouTube viewers had mentioned it earlier. I just want to see what it's like, because maybe that would be a great alternative for some of you guys whose dogs love to annihilate their bedding. Maybe that'd be a good alternative. But remember, the bedding is earned, for your puppy. I don't know whether you want to check out that one.
This one?
Bye, guys. Yeah, the top one.
We adopted a puppy last Saturday, and she has yet to pee or poo outside. She has had 2 pee accidents and 2 poos inside on Sunday, but we have yet to see her potty since.
That's a long time for a puppy to not
weird.
go potty. So I would think...
Is she
Sarah?
worried? Is she stressed?
Yeah, so there could be a few things happening. If your dog hasn't had a bowel movement in that many days, I would be concerned. I would probably go to the vet just to make sure everything was okay. But there could be issues with being stressed, whatever the environment is. And I don't really know what the environment is that you're
Or
taking
it
your
could
puppy
be
out.
that the puppy's used to, depending on how they were raised in a litter, with our puppies, they learn to go on shavings.
Right.
Or on newspaper stuff. So that's what they're used to doing. And then when they're older, we start to take them outside on grass. And so if your puppy hasn't been some dogs are very particular to the environment that they go to the bathroom in, depending on how they were trained. So it could be an environmental thing. It could be that the puppy's stressed. But yeah, as Ken said, if it's been that long, I would go to the vet, because that seems like a really long time, and you just want to make sure that everything's going okay. If she's having accidents in the house and you're able to catch, then you need to go through the steps that we had mentioned before.
Yeah. And if you're just joining the stream, the replay will be available after, in case you missed some of that. But look at think about the big picture. If the puppy's worried, if the puppy's too distracted, if the puppy's got a little bit too much freedom when you're outside trying to allow them to go potty. Look, she's like a rock climber, Beeline. Did you see that? She came up sideways up Kale, and she'll do that. She'll run into you and somehow like Spider-Man up into your arms. It's adorable, but only because she's so little and cute. So look at the big picture for that puppy and really do your best. Maybe introduce her to, different environments or different surfaces. She might have an easier time going, but that 5 days is 4 or 5 days is a long time. I would head to your vet first off. Okay, question 5 from Marissa. I have a 12-week-old Rottweiler and he won't stop pooping in his crate and laying in it. Ugh. I've tried everything. I feed him in his crate. I placed a divider in his crate to make it smaller. The problem is he doesn't mind laying in his poop. He's getting better as far as house training, but he just won't stop pooping in his crate. I don't know if it's because his breeder kept him in his crate all the time on pee pads, but I'm at a loss as to how to break this habit. It is really frustrating, but what you need to be sure of, absolutely certain of, it sounds like he understands that, going outside is okay. But you need to be proactive. You need to be taking him out before, you put him in his crate, and, really plan your time around that. You'll probably see, excuse me, I know we're covered in fur. You'll probably see, maybe he does that overnight. So that you need to feed him his dinner a little bit earlier and take him out and make sure he goes. It's likely that he's getting maybe distracted or something's happening where he's not going to the bathroom. Or, if you go to bed at a certain time, maybe you let him out. You stay up just a little bit later and you let him out again. You must be proactive. So if there's no real consequence for him for pooping in his kennel, then you need to set up a scenario where he can only be right. So he can only, have gone to the bathroom outside and not in his crate. And I know you talked about feeding him in his crate and placing a divider in his crate to make it smaller, but
keep doing those things. That's good.
Yeah, really great stuff for crate training. But I want you to be really aware of whatever those routines are that might be contributing to this behavior, and be really persistent about setting them up to be successful, because that's one thing we always want to do with dogs, is set them up to make good choices, set them up to be right. And you'll be able to do that by being a little proactive and taking him outside.
Beeline went through a stage where she was pooping in her crate as well. And I made the mistake of getting after her when she was a puppy for barking in her crate. And so I made myself a huge problem, because she was initially barking in her crate because she had to go outside, and then she just stopped that because she knew that I didn't like that. So then she would do nothing, and then she would just go to the bathroom. So I had a real problem. But what helped me was changing when I fed her. So like after like 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, she would get no treats. Like all of her food and stuff would be done by then, so that she could clearly go to the bathroom and be completely empty by the time she slept overnight. And that made a huge difference. The other thing that I did is I made sure that the crate was in a local area so that I could see her quite often. It did mean that I had to supervise her in the crate a little bit more. Now, obviously we have the crate, so we don't have to supervise them all the time, but I just would sort of keep an eye on her. So she seemed unsettled in her crate. So she was, pacing a lot, or if I heard any whining or anything like that, then I would just take her out. And for a little while, anytime she made noise in the crate, I would let her out, to basically let her know that if you do have to go outside, you need to indicate to me, because I had accidentally taught her to not make any noise. So I just sort of reversed that training, and I would let her out anytime she made any noise whatsoever, just to sort of teach her that she should ask. And after a couple of weeks, we got back on track again, and that seemed to be a short-lived problem. But the controlling the food was major, and keeping her in a local area was really helpful too.
Yeah. So, and that would sort of leans
small
on that,
crate, no bedding.
The idea of supervisor, it allows you to supervise her even when she's in her crate. So I just want to sort of touch on, I got to like deke out Beeline so she's not licking my face. Keep in mind those 4 rules that we talked about for puppy potty training. If you are watching this on the replay and you have a question about potty training, drop them in the comments below. Whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, I'll keep my eye on the chat. But keep those 4 things in mind that we talked about. If you're just joining the stream, 4 important rules are supervise, schedule, feedback, and responsibility. And if you keep those 4 things in mind as you're potty training your potty training your puppy, then your life will be so much easier, and you'll know that you're giving your puppy good information throughout. I hope we've really shed some light on the idea of potty training for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. We live stream 3 times a month on our YouTube channel, and if this is your first time on our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We publish new videos every single week to help you spend some quality time with your 4-legged family members. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank the Facebook community for having us for the first time. I think it was kind of fun. It was nice talking to you guys on Facebook as well. And if you have just found the McCann Dogs page, make sure you hit that like button. And if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, beside the subscribe button, there's a little bell icon. And if you click that bell, you'll be notified when we upload videos. And because we've changed our schedule a little bit, we publish every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. You may miss something, and you'd hate to miss out on a great training experience or a trick. And I'm going to give you guys, I guess everybody gets it, YouTube and Facebook. I've got a really great trick that I taught Grand Slam that's going to be super helpful for anybody who has an active dog, especially this time of year. That's going to be the little teaser, but that gets published on Monday at 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check it out. But for now, I want to thank you guys for watching. We certainly enjoyed it. So from myself, Ken Steep, and Beeline, and...
Oh, my name's Cal.
Thank you guys for watching. Happy training.